Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for February 10th, 2025. Shout out to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. I very much appreciate your viewership and support. We have WWE Elimination Chamber coming up in just a few weeks in Toronto, Canada. We'll talk about the matches, the qualifying matches, and the other happenings of Monday Night Raw. Let's get to it. Thank you to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. Now, we started off Monday Night Raw once again with Jey Uso, the 2025 Royal Rumble winner. Jey Uso had his full entrance. Everybody was eating. He was eating with the kids. And then he got up on the announce table after the fans wanted another encore. He was doing the eating on the announce table. And then all of a sudden, Gunther, the world heavyweight champion, attacked Jey. Jey tried to fight back, but Gunther got the best of him, power bombed him not once, but twice. You had officials coming in to try and separate these two. Gunther finally left, and then Jey got on the mic and officially picked Gunther for WrestleMania 41 World Heavyweight Championship match. Gunther went back towards the ring. Jey had a burst of energy. He did this dive over the top rope onto Gunther, and there was a bunch of security that got wiped out as well. It was a good opening segment to start off the show, and this episode of Raw was in Nashville, Tennessee, and they were hot. I have to give the fans credit. They were on fire for this show. The Nashville fans, they brought the energy to Monday Night Raw. Fun opening segment to kick off the show. Crowd was loving Jey. Will they love Jey at WrestleMania? That remains to be seen. We got, about 10 weeks now of build for this. We'll see what they're able to come up with. I hope they have some interesting ideas for this match as far as build-up goes. My worry is they're just going to rely on your standard segments. Are we going to have a contract signing with them? Are we going to have a face-off with them? I just feel like there's a lot of TV time between now and WrestleMania. What can they come up with that's different as far as the buildup goes and make this match really feel like a WrestleMania main event? That's the thing I fear. You hear the critics out there. People are concerned that this isn't a main event caliber match, that it's going to be somewhere in the middle of the card on night one or night two. It's not truly going to be a main event match. Can WWE turn that around? They got 10 weeks, or will they do your standard pull-apart brawls and contract signings, and it's just going to be a very lackluster build? We'll see what they come up with. Michael sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you, Michael. Says, you didn't mind this pull-apart brawl? It wasn't your standard pull-apart brawl. You had the security out there. They were trying to get Gunther off of Jey, and at least it didn't drag on. Like, Gunther could have kept doing all these moves. I thought he was going to go back a third time, and thankfully he didn't. He just did the 2 power bombs and then was leaving. It didn't bother me as your standard pull-apart brawl where the two guys are fighting and they take turns breaking out of the pack. It wasn't exactly like that, so I was okay with it. But thank you for the super chat, Michael. I do appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the tip, so thank you for that, Michael. We had a backstage segment with Rhea Ripley, and she was interviewed about Charlotte Flair. She wonders if Charlotte is stalling to make her pick. Damage Control, Io Sky, and the returning Dakota Kai approached Rhea, and Io said she's coming for Rhea. after Rhea cost her her WrestleMania opportunity. More on that in just a little bit. We had a War Raiders video package to hype up their tag team title match with the Creeds. And then we had Raquel and Liv Morgan versus Damage Control. Good tag team match here. I really enjoyed this one. Solid match to start off the show. Dakota Kai looking good in there. Thankfully, she's okay. She had that concussion. And it was your standard tag fair where you had Liv and Raquel with the upper hand for a while. Then Io came in, built up some momentum, did the suicide dive to the outside on both of them. And then Io did more of her signature moves like the top rope drop kick and then the bullet train, the double knees into the corner. But then Raquel pulled Liv to safety. And then you had this double team from Liv and Raquel. You had this double team Oblivion. Raquel assisted so Liv could do the Oblivion coming off the top rope. But then there was a kick out from Io. Raquel took Liv and tried to powerbomb Liv onto Io, but Io got her knees up. Raquel was sent outside, and then Dakota Kai tagged back in. Raquel was using Liv as a weapon, like swinging Liv around. And then Liv hit the Oblivion to Dakota, but Io broke up the pin. Io had gotten busted open. She was bleeding like right from her eye. Crowd was loving this. They were chanting, "This is awesome." Things had broken down, and Io Sky was eventually able to pin Liv Morgan with the over the moonsault. Very good match here. Really enjoyable tag team match. I'm still wondering what they're going to do with Liv and Raquel as a tag team. Liv is in the Elimination Chamber, and more on Io. She obviously wants her match with Rhea Ripley, so we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. I enjoyed the match very much. And then we had a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn video package. Sami Zayn out of commission, probably for about, they didn't say this, but 3 or 4 weeks after Elimination Chamber. He'll show up, and we're probably getting KO versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. We had Bayley versus Lyra Valkyria, the Intercontinental Champion, in a qualifying match for Elimination Chamber. Match was all right, but I feel like they just didn't have the chemistry. There were certain moments in the match that felt off, and they weren't exactly on sync with each other. So it wasn't a great match, but it was all right. They tried to go back and forth here and make it as competitive as possible. Roxanne Perez was at ringside for this, and it was a competitive match with these two. Lyra did get in a lot of offense on Bayley. She took her out with the tornado DDT on the floor, fisherman suplex. Lyra got her back in the ring and came off the top with this leg drop, but Bayley was able to counter the Nightwing, and then Lyra attempted to pin Bayley. Bayley reversed the pin attempt and got the 1-2-3 victory. So Bayley officially qualifies for Elimination Chamber. No surprise here whatsoever. I expected Bayley to win. It kind of makes your champion look weak, although she did lose to Bayley, who's a seasoned veteran. I'm still not sure I would have booked this match. Lyra doesn't really even have that many, if any, successful title defenses, and she's just losing matches here. I feel like I would have done a different match and saved these two going at it for a different time. But they had a good match. The veteran won. Like, if Lyra wasn't IC champion, I don't think it would have annoyed me as much. I just feel like it devalues the IC title, and it it needs to be established as a big deal, and it kind of feels like an afterthought already. And Bayley did show some good sportswomanship after the match. She helped up Lyra, hugged her, nice little feel-good moment. This guy Experience sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for the tip. I appreciate it. This guy says, my daughter likes Liv, surprised they do win. Well, maybe they'll get the tag team titles at some point. The tag division needs all the help it can get, especially now that Isla Dawn is no longer with the company, and we have another tag team that has been split up. Io and Raquel, or not Io, Liv and Raquel, maybe we'll get the women's tag team titles at some point. We'll see what happens with Bianca and Jade's team and Naomi and that whole storyline. Backstage, we had Ludwig Kaiser reacting to a Penta video package. Penta wants some payback on Kaiser. But then Pete Dunne interrupted the promo and said that he wasn't helping Kaiser on last week's Raw. And he said he is going to break Penta next week. And he told Kaiser to stay out of his business. Next week, it will be Pete Dunne versus Penta. I think that they're setting something up for Penta to have a tag team partner. I don't know if it's going to be Rey Fenix. As of now, as of this stream, Rey Fenix is still listed on the official AEW roster page, but there was also the news coming out. Miro, Ricky Starks, and Malachi Black, they are all gone officially from AEW. So will Rey Fenix be granted a release, or is Tony Khan going to keep him under contract? I guess we'll see, but I feel like this is going to lead to Penta having a partner. I don't know if it's going to be Rey Fenix or one of the names I just mentioned. And by the way, No DQ Review will be talking about the AEW departure, so make sure you tune in Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And yes, Penta had a match before Raw on Main Event. So it's no big deal. I know people are saying, oh, Penta's already on Main Event. You know, they're not putting him on Raw every single week. But he was in a video package. He's still being talked about. He's got a match for next week. I think people are overreacting to that one. We had Ivy Nile backstage mocking Lyra Valkyria for losing, and said that she got coached by these clowns in Alpha Academy. The other problem with Lyra losing is now it's even more obvious. Not that it wasn't before, but I mean, come on. We know Ivy Nile is not winning that title from Lyra Valkyria, especially after a loss to Bayley. Now Lyra's got to get her win back. So it kind of makes this match less appealing, knowing that Lyra just lost a big one. So she obviously has to win. But again, I was not expecting Ivy Nile to win the title regardless, but still. We had AJ Styles come into the ring for a promo, and he brought up how the injury that took him out of action was 4 months ago in Nashville, same building on SmackDown. And Styles said that he thought his career was over because of the injury, but then he realized he still had gas in the tank. He still got things to do. And at this point, he got interrupted by Dominic Mysterio and Carlito. Dominic, of course, getting heavily booed. Carlito got booed every time he tried to talk. They talked about how things changed since Styles left, and Styles agreed. No more Rhea Ripley, no more Damian Priest in Judgment Day. And AJ said Dominic will always be Rey Mysterio's punk-ass kid. A fight broke out. Dominic managed to escape. And Carlito, though, he got taken out with the phenomenal forearm. This was all a setup for next week. Adam Pearce announced AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. And then Braun Breaker, who was wearing this hat and interesting attire. I'm not sure where he picked that outfit from, but Braun Breaker, with an unusual look, confronted AJ Styles backstage. So you have to wonder if this is going to be the WrestleMania match. Braun Breaker versus AJ Styles for the IC title. We had Jackie Redmond interviewing Seth Rollins in the crowd, and they did a cool shot here. So they did this up in like the middle of the arena, and behind them you could see like the entire arena, the ring and everything. It was a different look for an interview. I liked it. It was a change of pace. It shows off the packed arena. So of course, Rollins talked about having an Elimination Chamber qualifier with Finn Balor. Finn Balor confronted him, said that people are seeing the downfall of Rollins, and then Rollins said that Balor is just standing in his way, and Balor will not be standing at all on next week's show. Solid promo here. Again, I liked the change of location for the interview. Shout out to the This Guy Experience, who sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for the tip. I appreciate the super chats very much. This guy said, I want Ivy Nile to get the IC title. Creeds need the tag team belts. Well, we are going to get to the tag team match here right now, as a matter of fact. I don't think it's going to happen, but let's talk about the tag team match. I definitely don't see Ivy getting the titles. Maybe the Creeds, but let's talk about the match here. Thank you again for the super chat. War Raiders defending their tag team titles against the Creeds. It was a good match. I definitely enjoyed it. And you had Creeds get the upper hand for a while. Then Ivar got the tag. War Raiders built up some momentum. But then Julius knocked Eric off the apron. Ivy Nile got on the apron. And then the Creeds almost won with the superplex, followed by the moonsault combo. But Eric made the save. And then the War Raiders were perhaps on the verge of winning. But then Julius took the tag team title and used the title, causing a disqualification. Hey, we had 2 clean finishes up to this point. Can't win them all. I guess this was just done to keep the feud going, but yeah, kind of felt like filler. Do a tag match, ended in DQ. We'll keep the feud going for a little bit longer. Match was good, but yeah, not a big fan of the DQs, especially when I feel like they're just done to stretch out a program. Then backstage, we had the Judgment Day not cutting a promo, but just discussing the status of the group. And there was a pitch. So Dominic thinks that they need a new member of the group, but Finn Balor shot it down. Finn Balor thinks he has things under control. He's going to fix everything with Judgment Day and beat Seth Rollins next week. I have a feeling that's not going to happen. And maybe this will continue the breakup of the Judgment Day. Because I do think like it's time to move on. I feel like the Judgment Day has run its course. I kind of want the Dominic face turn, but he got so much heat on this show, they might stretch it out a little bit longer. Rhea Ripley was backstage and told Io Sky that she's going to give Io Sky a title match, not because she has to, but because she wants to. And they said it's going to take place in 3 weeks, the night after Elimination Chamber. Seems very random. Why not just do Elimination Chamber? I don't know. I guess they have other plans for the Chamber. They want a marquee match for Raw in 3 weeks. So there you go. Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, 3 weeks on Monday Night Raw. CM Punk came to the ring for a promo to hype up Elimination Chamber. He said he's happy for Jey Uso, but now that Jey has selected Gunther, Punk is turning his attentions to Cody. He's going to stab Cody in the front like he said a few weeks ago. He talked about John Cena not having to qualify, but Punk's not upset. He said Cena deserved to call his shot. Punk said he's going to beat the crap out of John Cena. I'm looking forward to that little recreation of their 2011 feud, a little revisiting of that storyline, revisiting the rivalry. And then he turned his attention to Drew McIntyre, said he beat McIntyre so bad at Hell in a Cell, McIntyre had to go to the other show. So just imagine what Punk's going to do in the Chamber. Punk said 5 men are going down. He's never felt more confident. And that's when Logan Paul interrupted. Logan Paul has new music. It sucks. It's generic. And Punk was even like, I don't even know who this is based off of the music. Logan talked about how he eliminated CM Punk at the Rumble, and he's going to have Punk's number again at the Chamber match. And Punk warned Logan to focus on Rey Mysterio first, and then we'll see what happens at Elimination Chamber. We had our main event here, Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. It was a good match. However, I didn't believe Rey Mysterio had a chance of winning for 1 second. Pretty obvious to me, Logan Paul, after eliminating CM Punk and them teasing that, having Logan Paul mix it up with John Cena in the Chamber and all the possibilities there, Logan wasn't losing this. So, to me, this was a very predictable main event, but it was a good match. I definitely enjoyed it. Logan was targeting the midsection, but then Rey was able to build up some momentum. He sent Logan into the steel steps, and back in the ring, they were back and forth. I liked that moonsault power slam that Logan did. That looked cool. And then Logan avoided the 619. Rey did this power bomb out of the corner. Logan kicked out of that. And then Rey hit the 619, went up top, came off the top, but then Logan got his knees up. Logan took out Rey with the titanium right hand, whatever you want to call it. And then he finished off Rey with his finisher, which they're calling the pulverizer. Logan Paul, no surprise, picks up the 1-2-3 victory. And then just literally as the show was going off the air, I mean, the New Day showed up, attacked Rey Mysterio. We literally saw like 3 seconds of it. They jumped him, 3 seconds, show went off the air. Very odd to me. I thought with Netflix, they could just go off the air whenever they feel like it. But they went off the air like right at the 2 hour and 30-minute mark. They couldn't stretch it out to see the beat down. It just cut off right when we got the attack. I don't know if that was done on purpose to maybe have a cliffhanger, but it was an odd ending. Like, what was the point if you were just going to cut it off immediately? Like, they could have done like a nice heavy angle there, but they just chose to go right off the air. So that was a little bit of a letdown. And we do have a super chat here, so let me get to that. Walter Cruz, Mr. Reliable, sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for the tip. Says, this is the end of Judgment Day, or maybe Aleister Black comes in and rebrands it or something new. I don't think he should be a heel, first of all. To me, he's a natural babyface. He's cool. You know, the fans like a cool character. Let him do his classic routine where he rises up and you got the candles and everything and the smoke and all that. He's a badass. He doesn't need a faction, and he doesn't need to be a heel. So I think they should just break up Judgment Day. I really do feel like it needs to end. Plus, I think he's more likely to be on SmackDown with his wife, Zelina Vega. If anything, maybe they form a faction. Maybe we get Aleister Black, Zelina Vega, and Andrade as a group. Why not? That's a possibility. Make them a tag team or something. They could do that. So all in all, I did think Raw was a good show. However, I do think it was the weakest Raw on Netflix to date. This was the closest thing to a filler Monday Night Raw, one that you could skip. We did establish the WrestleMania main event. We'll see if it's a night one main event, but my guess is it will not close either night of WrestleMania. They did set up Jey versus Gunther. The crowd was excellent. Crowd was on fire. We did have some good wrestling on the show. It was a little bit better than average, but I do think it was the weakest Netflix Raw to date. So thus, on my scale, I am going 6 out of 10. Still a good show, but I was hoping for a little bit more chaos and maybe some heavy angles. Like if New Day had just done something really evil to Rey Mysterio and they let that play out for a couple minutes, I might have bumped to a 7. Going with 6. Good show, though. And they did set up some stuff for next week, too. So that's a positive. Anyways, that's all I got. My thoughts on Monday Night Raw this week. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And I do think things will pick up once we get to the Chamber and then we really get into the WrestleMania season. Remember, they got that European tour coming up. Those are going to be some hot shows. I suspect John Cena will be around. Roman Reigns will be around. And, business, as JR would say, will pick up for that. But for now, we're kind of in a period where they're just building up Elimination Chamber, doing the qualifying matches, not really doing any heavy angles. So, you could probably skip Raw and skip SmackDown or just watch the YouTube clips, and you're not going to miss too much. Have a great night, everyone. Enjoy your week. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.